plus registrations. So that itself is a success. Whether they attend, don't attend, that's left to them. But our step one is a successful one. So all the credit goes to the team of this yoga, and this team will be working together, and we will do number of programs like this with your cooperation. Thank you for giving me this nice opportunity. Thank you, one and all. Over to you, Kirti. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful speech. Now I would like to welcome Mrs. Sunita Garu to give a brief introduction of our honorable host or presentee of this program, Mrs. Sandhya Garu. Over to you, Sunita Garu. Sunita Garu?
Mute Sunita.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sunita from Ongole, actually from Vijayawada when I was there with sir. So, ఈ రోజు విఎన్విహెచ్ గ్రూప్ ద్వారా సభ్యులందరికీ నమస్కారములు. నేను తెలుగులో చెప్తున్నాను. ఈరోజు మన ఈ కార్యక్రమం జరగడానికి ముఖ్య కారకురాలైన ఒక ముఖ్య వ్యక్తిని పరిచయం చేస్తున్నాను. ఈ వెబినార్ని స్టార్ట్ చేసి మనకి ఎంతో సహాయం చేసి ఆవిడే అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటర్గా ఉండి టెక్నాలజీ మొత్తం ఆమె చూసుకుంటూ చేస్తున్న ఆవిడ ఎవరో కాదు. ఆవిడ తెల్లవారుజామునే మనకంటే ముందుగా లేచి ఉదయాన్నే సైట్ ఓపెన్ చేసి అందరినీ ఇన్వైట్ చేసి ఎంతో కృషి చేసి మనం ఎంత ఆనందంగా అన్నీ నేర్చుకొని యోగా చేసుకోవడానికి దోహదపడిన వ్యక్తి శ్రీమతి టూటి సంధ్యా గారు. ఆవిడ చెప్పాలంటే ఆవిడ గురించి ఎంతో ఉంది. ఆవిడ బాధ్యతలు కానీ ఆవిడ చేసే పనులు మంచి పనులు ఆవిడ చెప్పాలంటే టైం సరిపోదు మనకి. 1 hour ఉన్నా కూడా హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ అయినా కూడా సరిపోదు. నేను టూకీగా కొన్ని చిన్న ముఖ్య విషయాలు చెప్తాను ఆవిడ గురించి. సంధ్యా మేడం, వెల్కమ్ టు దిస్ ప్రోగ్రామ్. ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ద్వారా టీచింగ్ అండ్ లెర్నింగ్ మెథడాలజీస్ ఇన్ 21st century గురించి నేర్చుకుంటున్నాము. సో ఇది అందరికీ ఉపయోగపడుతుంది. ఇంతవరకు మనం ఇళ్లలో కొంతమంది హౌస్ వైఫ్స్ అంటే యాజ్ లైక్ మీ, నేను హౌస్ వైఫ్ గా ఉండి కూడా ఇప్పుడు టీచింగ్ లెవెల్లో నేర్చుకోవాలనే ఈ ఏజ్ సరైన కాకపోయినా ఈ మాధ్యమం ద్వారా, ఈ నెట్ వెబినార్ ద్వారా నేర్చుకునే అవకాశం కల్పించిన సంధ్యా గారికి, మా గురువు గారైన దివాకర్ గారికి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలుపుతున్నాను. ముఖ్యంగా సంధ్యా గారి గురించి చెప్పాలంటే ఆవిడ నిర్వహిస్తున్న ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి ఎంతో కృషి చేస్తున్నారు. దానిలో ఎన్నో ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఉన్నా ఆమె ఫేస్ చేస్తూ అందరి కనెక్షన్స్ ప్రతిరోజు నిత్యం ఒక్కరోజు కూడా మానకుండా చేస్తున్నారు. అంతేకాకుండా ఆవిడ చేసే బాధ్యతల్లో చాలా గొప్పవి. ఆవిడ ప్రస్తుతం మహాత్మా గాంధీ నేషనల్ కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ రూరల్ ఎడ్యుకేషనల్లో రిసోర్సర్గా పనిచేస్తున్నారు. యాక్చువల్గా ఆవిడ ఈసీ ఆఫ్ ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ కౌన్సిల్ అండ్ మెంబర్ ఆఫ్ చైర్పర్సన్ ఇన్ IETE, ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆఫ్ ఎలక్ట్రానిక్స్ అండ్ టెలికమ్యూనికేషన్స్లో వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారు. ఆమె ఎన్నో నేషనల్ అండ్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ పురస్కారాలు అందుకున్నారు. ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ ఎడ్యుకేటింగ్ INC IGIP ఫీల్డ్లో అండ్ అచీవర్ జెంటిల్ ఫర్ ఆన్లైన్ మాడ్యులర్ ఆపరేషన్ ఫర్ 21st century టీచింగ్ అండ్ లెర్నింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇన్పాట్స్ IUCE ద్వారా ఒక అవార్డు నేర్చుకున్నారు. ఇట్స్ ఎ గ్రేట్ అవార్డ్. అచీవర్ జెంటిల్ అనే అవార్డుని గెలుచుకున్నారు ఆవిడ. షీ ఆల్సో రిసీవ్డ్ టాప్ సోషల్ లెర్నర్ అవార్డ్ ఫ్రమ్ విక్సాట్. ఇట్స్ ఎ టాప్ సోషల్ లెర్నర్ అవార్డ్ ఫ్రమ్ విక్సాట్. She conducted so many seminars and workshops for many universities, for faculties and students, almost 38 colleges, and for faculties to rural entrepreneurship workshops. And also she worked for the Swachhata Action Plan in so many villages, like around 76 villages, through online and through the colleges. She has conducted so many programs, Swachh Action Planning programs through the online webinar. So this is simple thing I have introduced. Sandhya Garu, welcome to this program. Over to Itti.
Thank you, Sunita Garu. Now I heartily welcome Mrs. Sandhya Garu to start this program. Sandhya Garu, over to you.
Thank you, Kirti madam. Thank you, Sunita madam. Very good evening to one and all, the respected professors here and all my yoga friends. A warm greetings from VNVH Yoga team. So without any time delay, I would like to present a small presentation about teaching learning methodologies in 21st century. And the participants here, please don't feel that it belongs to teacher community. So I am a housewife or I am someone who is not at all related to teaching. We will connect it with the parental skills. We will connect it with the student and teacher skills. And overall, we will go into by step. So it is related to every mentor. It is not specifically related to only the teacher and the student relationship. I'll repeat again here. It is related to the session. The next 35-minute session is related to every mentor, every mother, every father, every teacher, a faculty, professor, principal, and everyone who is going to mentor their own children and their own students. Okay. So Kirti Garu, the screen is visible. Please help me out. Is my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Sandhya.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Sandhya.
It's visible.
Thank you, Divakar sir.
It's
Thank you,
visible, ma'am.
Kirti. Yeah. So today we will talk on teaching and learning methodologies in 21st century. So why specifically I have mentioned 21st century is because today our children and even the students whom we are dealing are 21st century children. We call them as a millennium learners. So for the millennium learners, as a teacher and as a parent, we need to have different kind of skills to facilitate them. Please remember, I'm not talking about to handle them. I'm talking on to facilitate them, how we can facilitate our own children or how we can facilitate our students. That is our major focus through this 35 minutes of session. So these are the outcomes or objectives of today's session. We will discuss what is the change actually happened. Here in the group, I'm sure that 3 generations are here. No, 3 generations of participants are here with me today. So we will observe what are the basic shift or the change required from one generation to the another generation to the present generation. That we will focus on. And then we'll look on what are the special characteristics these millennium learners are having. What makes them different from us? That we will focus on. And create an awareness and teaching philosophy statement. So this we can interlink with the parental philosophy statement also. So what is that philosophy statement and how we can prepare that also we will focus in the next 30 minutes of presentation. And we're going to illustrate the phases of teaching learning process. What is teaching, what is learning, and is there any phases in teaching and learning? That also we will go through and identify the key characteristics of active learning. This active learning is very much linked with the 21st century children. So these are all the few basic steps we will focus on through our session today. Okay. So what is a new shift or change has occurred? Anyone in the group, the respected professors, teachers, and parents, please let me know what is the change you are observing in the present generation children compared to your children and your students are your own generation. What is the change you are observing? Anyone, you can unmute and you can share, sir. Meanwhile, just I'll go back and admit those who are in queue. Any change? What is the change? Yes, please, sir. Chupandi.
Leadership qualities, they're attracting leadership qualities, some children.
Okay, so present children is having more leadership skills or what, sir?
They're interested to participate leadership.
Perfect,
They
yes. They're interested to be leader. Okay, perfect, sir. Thank you.
some children are very interesting to manage the groups in the schools.
It's
Okay.
not
So,
a negative point. Actually, they think that they know everything. They can learn by themselves. They need
okay.
not teach. You can't teach. You don't need to teach us. It's a negative point as well as positive. We can take it both.
Okay.
Sometimes
So we can tell that they are overconfident.
oh yeah, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any
More
other response?
indisciplined. They are more indisciplined nowadays, the generation of the people.
Okay.
And reading habit is very less.
True.
They are more addicted to the generation of like internet and all. And
Excellent.
social contaction is very less.
True.
And especially they are giving more importance to the parents for cognitive development, not for the any like what we can now. We are doing the very good program like yoga and meditation.
Mhm.
This is my view, madam, about as a assistant professor, what I observed our students, even trainees also.
Perfect, sir. Yes, perfect. So, what are all the characteristics you have mentioned from Raju sir to the last participant, sir? Yes, all those are the characteristics of the present generation students are our own children. Na? So, for these kind of characteristics, how we can facilitate them, because that is not something wrong, because no, this is due to the changes. They are more tech savvy. They are dependent on internet. In our days, or maybe in my father's and the parents' age, they used to depend on the teacher. In the next generation, they used to depend more on the libraries and books and other sources. But now there is no need of, as one of you have mentioned, they are more dependent on internet kind of things. So that is like the facilities and resources also improved compared to our generations. So that has been given as a right to them. So in such kind of situations, how we can facilitate them as a parent or as a teacher, how we can facilitate them is what we will focus on. So how we can go on with this? First, our intention is not only to focus on their academics. Even if we are a teacher, assistant professor, principal, or whatever the designation and taglines we have, our intention is to focus on their overall personality development. As our yoga team, VNVH team, is focusing on overall personality development of all the participants. It's not only restricted to yoga content, but also than yoga we are doing many things, because we are working for the overall personality development of each and everyone. That is one of the vision as mentioned by Dr. Divakar sir. So, and enhance and facilitate their learning, we need to understand that we need to facilitate. So that we will focus, promote experiential learning, because one of you have mentioned that they are not at all interested to listen to us, and they don't even have the reading habit. So in this context, the children in 21st century are much interested towards experiential learning. So this experiential learning is nothing but learning by doing. So we have to involve them in one or the other activity to learn one or the other context. It similarly employs at the household works also. Simply we will not ask them to do this and that. We will ask them, and we will make them to, like, we will involve them to learn that particular activity. It may be cooking, it may be mopping, whatever at the household time. This is mopping, cooking, and all this comes into picture. So as a parents, we need to take care of all those, and as a teacher, we need to focus on their learning with respect to their academic performance. So in both the ways, as a parent and as a teacher, we need to involve them more. So let them learn more by involving themselves. So that is another characteristics we need to focus on. Emphasize active participation is also again involvement. Promote collaboration and teamwork. One of you, the last participant, the sir has mentioned there is no collaboration between them. There is no, social connections exist with the present generation children. So that is what we need to focus on. We need to make them as a team and let them work in the teams. So that facilitates them to learn many things. Right? So here I have a small quote. Learn from the learner. As a teacher and as a parent, we need to practice this. Instruction begins when you, the teacher, learn from the learner. So we should be ready as a teacher. Of course, all of you in the meeting will accept with me that teacher is a continuous learner. Anna? So with respect to this, we as a teacher first need to have adaptability of learning from the learner. We need to accept that, put yourself in his or her place so that we will understand what our learner is learning. So this is a famous quote by Kierkegaard, who mentioned in 1813 to 1855. So this quote 100% suits for this 21st century kids. Right? So with this quote, we will enter into a small activity. The characteristics we have discussed already. So I request all the participants just write down the differences or the characteristics of current generation to our own generation. Take 3 to 5 minutes of time. If you have pen and paper, please write it down in the paper and book. If not, please go back and memorize what are the basic differences. This is just to understand the levels. Okay. For next 3 minutes, I request all of you to write the basic differences between the characteristics of our generation to the present generation. Meanwhile, just I'll go back and admit all of them. Okay. So I request all of you to write, do a small activity. Write down the difference between the characteristics of present generation students from our generation. What makes them different? And what are the basic gap exists between us and the children? This activity is basically for our own understanding. So if you have written, please one of you can share, 1 or 2 faculty members can share, or anyone.
Good evening, Sandhya ma'am.
Good evening, madam, please.
Ma'am, I feel like the 2 main things I have observed is the first thing, they have become more tech savvy.
Yeah.
And like they are self-reliant. Everything they'll be doing on their own. They'll be learning on their own.
Exactly.
But the main thing or the main drawback here with the current generation or the new generation is they are not able to accept downfalls or failures in their life.
Okay.
Like we used to have such motivation or maybe some support from our families. Maybe by seeing our mothers or maybe our friends, the older generations, they used to understand that yes, this is what life is. So we need to stand forward. We need to step forward for each and everything. But the thing is here, for this current generation, everything is, they're getting everything very easy. And it's like use and throw. So they're not able to accept this downfall or failure in their actual life or in their maybe career life.
Okay. Just you can think. I will ask one question. This question is for all the current generation parents. Who is that giving them all the facilities or the resources? Yes, you can see the answers.
Be the parents.
Be the parents.
Be the parents.
Yes. Right. So the personality traits of 21st century learners, as mentioned by madam, yes, 100% correct. they have close affinity with the technology. They're tech savvy. There is no doubt about it, because today even 1 year girl or boy knows how to control YouTube, how to go to their rhymes, and they will, they will demand that if you play YouTube, then only I will have my lunch or dinner. But we need to understand who is the root cause for that. Yes, we need to use these laptops, mobiles, and whatever technology we are using today, even because of this COVID and pandemic days, that is compulsory in every household. Even what we are following today is also because of pandemic. But still, we need to understand what is the root cause. Why we as a parents are allowing that. We need to think. It is just personal question for everyone. I'm not asking for any debate or any this. We can just go through, or we can just highlight what is that we are doing and how it is going, the motivation, what motivation we are giving to our own children as a parents, and also as a teachers. Use it to a lot of attention from the parents and family. One of you have mentioned that they're not dependent on the family, but they are expecting more affection and more time to be spent by the family and the parents. So that is also one of the personality traits, because as you mentioned, they have very less social connections. Nuclear families in olden days, family to almost 20 to 20 members, maximum of 20 members, minimum of 8 members used to be there. So out of 8 members, that child, even he or she don't know that who is their mother and who is their father. Like that, they have pampered by their grandparents, their parents, and other aunties and uncles. But today, very unfortunate that we all are the nuclear families. Our children are more dependent on only the parents. Even if we are moving somewhere to the native places or some other friend's house or some neighbor's house, they're more dependent on us. They're not at all opening their mouths. So that's how they're seeking more attention from the parents. So my mother need to be with me, my father need to be with me, my mentor or my teacher need to be always with me. So that is the another personality trait which the present generation is facing. And works best in relaxed environment. So they want a kind of relaxed environment to focus on anything. Enjoy social interaction. Yes, enjoy researching information. Google Mata is there for them. Whatever they want, they will just Google it. My son, who is studying 7th standard, he is more tech savvy than me. I don't even know that what are the specific features available in my mobile, or what are the specific features available in my laptop. But if I ask and if I call my buddy, Arjun, can you help me? Yes, he will help me in a couple of minutes. And during these 18 months, my buddy has become like anything. He will do, if I give my laptop for 5 minutes, and the 6th minute I will not understand what's happening in my laptop. So that researching information and doing this, they love much. Even our students or our children enjoy autonomy. They wanted to be individual person. That overconfidence, one madam mentioned that their specific characteristics is, I know everything. I know everything. There is no need to tell to you. What is that you are telling? You don't know anything, Amma. Like that. That is the quote, I know everything. And they enjoys the autonomy. And another very unfortunate and difficult personality trait of 21st century learners is short attention span. They have very little attention span. This is faced by many of the teachers in the group. They're not at all attentive to our class for the 40 minutes or 50 minutes, whatever we are speaking in the class. That is a major personality trait which the present generation students and the teachers are facing in classrooms, especially in offline classrooms. Of course, online classrooms, we don't know even the student is there or not, because video off, audio off. Even if you're calling for 2 to 3 minutes, they will not answer your call. They will not respond to your call. That is a major personality trait of 21st century learners. Okay, so for this, I'll focus only on the short attention span. So for this will be applicable for the classroom teaching or the online teaching, especially for the teachers. So for this attention span, short attention span, what we can do. So here I have few tips. The 50 minutes lecture or 45 minutes or 40 minutes lecture, we can divide into some chunks, divide into some subcategories. So first we can start with a kind of repetition of yesterday's class or the previous class. Okay, and then start with your segment 1, maybe introductory part or maybe other, whatever according to your syllabus, and that we can teach for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, just have a small activity in the class, a small activity which we can complete in 2 minutes of time. We have hundreds of activities, but we can complete in 2 minutes of time. For example, you can ask them to write 2 important points from the segment 1 lecture or segment 1 session what you have. Teach them for the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Just ask them to write 1 or 2 important points. That's all. Okay, and for that you can call one or other students whom you feel that they are disconnected your class. Let them tell what is the important point which we have discussed last 10 minutes. So that activity, just 1 minute or 30 seconds of activity is that. Okay, so that 30 seconds or 1 minute of activity will give attention with all the students in the class, because okay, madam and sir is asking that fellow, so next will be my turn. So it will activate them rather than the continuous lecture. If you keep 1 or 2 minutes activity, not more than 2 minutes. Okay, so that we can do. And next, again, your next 10 minutes or 15 minutes lecture. And then again wrap up, like just revise what is that you have done, and that revision to be done by your students in your classroom. So that way the students will be more connected to you, because their attention span is very, it is not even 5 minutes. I'll show you some graphical things also. Okay, and finally we can take our attendance and come out of the room. This will be applicable for your online or offline. So attention span, if you see here, the graph tells us from first 1 minute to the 10 minutes, the attention span is increasing. They are much attentive to listen to you. They're much attentive. Okay, what sir is going to tell, what madam is going to tell. They're much attentive to the teacher or the parent. Even this is the same case with our own children. Please, if any parents are here, those who are feeling I am nowhere related to the teaching field, please connect it with your own children. Even in our house also, the same things are happening. Our children also attentive only for the 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, they will not sit with you. They will not listen to you. That is the major problem with the 21st century. So in that case, here if you observe here, it is drastically increasing first 10 minutes. And then after 5 to 6 minutes, it is stable. Okay, kind of thing. Okay, I need to listen to madam because she is observing me. I need to listen to my father because he is more angry, or he is telling something like that. So they will give their attention for maximum of 15 to 16 minutes. After 16th minute, if you observe, their graph will be like decreasing from 16th minute to 1 hour. Whatever we are talking, they will not at all focus. They will not at all even hear whatever we are talking. They will not even focus, right? So in that case, if we do some change of activity, let them be part of a small activity. Chalo, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. All of you stand up or change your places. Kind of a small activity if we can initiate, again that attention will come back. So they will come to the classroom, or they will come to whatever mother and father are speaking. So that a small kind of activity we can initiate after 16 minutes or 20 minutes, even in classroom or even at our house also, as a parents and as a teachers. So that what happens with that stand up, stand up, stand up, go here, come here, do that, do this. So what happens? They will be attentive. Okay, she's telling something for my sake. Oh, I need to listen to her. She's calling me. Our madam is calling me. My mother is calling me. That attention will come into their mind. So with that, what happens? The change of thing will happen, and again they will start focusing on whatever we are speaking or whatever we are teaching. So this shift need to be done. So with this, we can overcome the attention span personality trait of the 21st century. Students are the children at home. Okay, so how and more tips here are, this is also for teachers. The content should be more relevant, so the title and content should match, and whatever examples we are giving, that should match. Whatever case studies we are telling, that should match with the content. Whatever we are talking, that should reflect in their syllabus, or that should reflect in their real life learning. So then they will, they will get some appropriate, like relevance with their appearance in the classroom. So that we need to make sure that make content relevant. Whatever we are talking, that should be appropriate and relevant to them. So syllabus, one thing is there and we are speaking something else. So what happens? It will not match. So that mismatch and miscommunication will create mess up in their mind. So we as a teachers and we as a parent should make sure that our content is more relevant. Whatever we are speaking, whatever we are teaching should have connection. So that we need to make sure and partner with the technology. Yes, all of us have accepted that they are tech savvies, more dependent on the internet. Yes, we need to adapt few changes as we have adapted with this Google Meet, Zoom Meet, and all these platforms today. Because if pandemic has not come now, we don't know how many of us followed this Google Meet, how many of us dependent on this Google, and we don't know that I would have made this group, so we need to adapt with the technology, partner with the technology. Even in classroom we can use like kind of PPTs, kind of making some short quizzes. You can give just five questions, share the link with them. Google form, create 5 questions, share the link with them, let them do in your class. So that we need to adapt the technology adoption. Make yourself accessible. This is very important for the parents and the teachers, because we have seen that the personality traits of 21st century children are completely different. So we need to be more accessible to them. So accessible to them, though, we need to build up a kind of trust belief between we and our children, or we and our student. So student or the children need to get the confidence that I can share anything with my madam, or I can share anything with my sir, so that I will get a solution, or I will get a proper answer for this particular question or this particular syllabus. Like that accessibility we need to give in to the students. Similar kind we can do in the house also. So that accessibility need to be given, because all of us have accepted that the present generation children are having some different kind of characteristics. So in this path we need to adopt, and we need to give some accessibility. In olden days, or even in my days, when I am the child of 5 years or 6 years, when my father is coming from the main door, though I will be in some bedroom or somewhere in kitchen or somewhere. But these days, no, they wanted to do all those things with the parents. They wanted to get in touch with the parents, they wanted to play with the parents. That is the generation change we have. So that accessibility need to be there. So in earlier days, only with our eyes or only with whatever signs we used to understand our parents, or our parents used to understand us. But these days we need to be open, the sharing, we need to be like expressive kind of thing, because they are like that. So we, both the ways, accessibility need to be there, even as a parent or as a teacher. Yeah. Plan and implement group activities. This is more suitable for the teachers. In offline classrooms, we can create some groups and let them discuss on the topic, because we will have our syllabi like chapter 1, chapter 2, or unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So from that first units you can teach in the classroom, and third unit you can give as a seminar to your students in a group. So let them practice that and let them share their experiences on DIAS. That will be great platform to the students. Similar kind of thing we can implement even in today's online also. In online also we have facility of breaking down the rooms. So breaking down the rooms, we can give divide the number of students into 4 or 5 groups. Let them discuss on this particular topic of unit 3. Let them, the second group, discuss on the second topic of unit 3. Third group, third topic. Fourth group, fourth topic. Like that, let them discuss. And at the end of 15 to 20 minutes, they can come back to the main room and share their views. So that also we can practice with the current generation. Provide constructive feedback. This is very, 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 very important. We need to provide them the constructive feedback. We should not have any partiality here, no biases. We need to give them correct to correct, wrong to wrong. If it is wrong, it is our responsibility to make it correct. So that is what we need to remember. There is no partiality. We should not, as if this student is roll number 1, always he is topper, so he is topper. So he is last bench fellow. I know you are last bench fellow. You will be like that. On that partiality, we should not show with the students. Everyone are equal. That is the basic and primary skill or characteristics of a facilitator. Now we are changing our role from teacher to the facilitator, parent to the facilitator. So the work of facilitator is to facilitate them, understand the learning needs of your student. So in this, we need to give them the constructive feedback. Constructive feedback to perfect feedback. Yes to yes, wrong to wrong. Even if last bench student is getting topper marks, so yes, he is topper. If the first bench student is getting least marks, so yes, he is least. That's all. It does not mean that always the topper is topper. No, that partiality we should not show. So constructive feedback is very much important for the learner's growth and as well as for this accessibility kind of thing. Okay, so now I know that many of your professors here in the group, so please help us out. What do you mean by teaching and learning? What is teaching and what is learning? Anyone in the group, please unmute and you can. It's already 6:45. Yes. Anyone? Please unmute and share what is teaching and what is learning. Yeah, Shanti Garu, please.
Yes.
Okay, just let me go with the content. Teaching is like an act or process of attending to the people's needs. Okay, so here we need to understand, yes, we need to focus on syllabus or whatever the task given to us. But in the process of focusing on the syllabus or completion of syllabus, our role is to act our process of attending people's needs. We are generating graduates, we are generating postgraduates, we are generating engineers, we are generating doctors. That means that we need to attend their needs because we are the teachers. So that we need to understand. Teacher is the one who, for the process of attending people needs, and it is an interactive process. It is not a one-way process. A single teacher cannot achieve anything. Single learner cannot achieve anything. When the teacher and the learner understands the needs of the society, because all the ultimate goal is to address the needs of the society. Doctor needs to address the doctor need to address the society needs. Similarly, engineer needs to address the society needs. That is what our major focus. So teacher plays a very crucial role here. Now, learner work is to acquire the knowledge or skill through the study experience are being taught by the teacher. So these are the basic. Teacher who is working for the people needs, and learners main focus is on learn through the experiences or learn by someone who taught us. Okay, and this learning is not only with respect to academic, as you know, we need to focus on overall personality development. Whatever few of you have focused on gratitude, behaviors, attitude, their characteristics and all, that all need to be developed in a balanced way. That is the purpose of teaching and learning. So as a teacher, we always need to remember that we are a continuous learner. There is nothing wrong in learning something from the learner. So that is what the teaching and learning means. Okay, so here again, I have come up with a small activity because this is already done by our Dr. Divakar sir in his inaugural talk. So what sir has mentioned, the inspired teachers are. So sir mentioned his mentor name and what made him like inspired, what made him to get inspired from his professor. Similar kind of activity, I request all of you just go back and work on who is your best teacher. maybe in your school days, college days, PG or UG, and if any one of you feel that I forgot all my school days, though, you can just go back. Who is your role model today? Who is your role model? Whether it is your father, your mother, your sister, some of your friend, some role models, Abdul Kalam ji, like that. Though, just you can write it down the name. If Abdul Kalam ji, to you can write it down Abdul Kalam ji, Gandhi ji to Gandhi ji, mother to mother, father to father, or if any friend, write your friend name, or any teacher, write your teacher name, and then think about second and third questions. The second question is, what qualities made this person as a great teacher? You know, just in 30 seconds, I will share one of my experiences. You know, I like my maths teacher. My maths teacher is Bhikshapati sir in my schooling days. You know, why I like him is like, it is not only the part of teaching maths, but also he used to give a lot of respect to the girl children in the classroom. And not only respect sirs and madams, but also he used to contribute his 20% of salary for the girl children's empowerment, whatever we are calling today, the women empowerment, girl child empowerment, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, all those he used to implement in those days in 1990s. So that's why, you know, I was very much impressed, and even till today I'm in contact with Bhikshapati sir. Whatever I am doing, I will think, yes, my Bhikshapati sir used to do this. As a teacher, am I doing that to my student? Like that, I will compare. Similar way, you might have one or the other role model in your life. It may be your mother. Nothing wrong. Mother, father, friends, siblings. No, whomever it may be. Just you can write it down, because as time is given 1 hour, so I'm just leaving these questions to you. Please, please, please focus on these questions. The answers to these questions will give you a lot of things. Answers to these questions will change our mindset. Why my maths teacher in the school is the 90s to 22 years back, I have completed my 10th class. But still today, why I am remembered with Bhikshapati sir's attitude or behavior or gratitude, whatever we are talking today. Because he's a kind of respect. Giving respect is one best quality that we all need to follow. Respect all the people, irrespective of their designation, tagline, whatever we have. Respect them as they are. That's all. That is a good quality I have learned from him. So that is a lifelong lesson for me throughout my life. Similar way, you also please go back, just write who is your role model or who is a great teacher in your life, and what qualities made him or her to be a great teacher. And as a teacher or as a parent, am I exhibiting the same qualities or not? You please cross check. Okay, so am I equally respecting all my fellow members as Bhikshapati sir has respected? Like that, I need to compare. Similar way, you also compare with your teacher, mother, father, your role model. So please do this. Just I'm leaving here. Right. And as I mentioned, the teaching philosophy statement. So this teaching philosophy statement is a kind of summary, or simply to focus on the goals or objectives of our teaching. Okay. So just leave about the syllabus, whatever subject given to you, just leave aside. Okay. And other than all this syllabus or content or subject or all this, as a teacher, we need to have some objective and the goal. And that short-term goals and the long-term goals should match with our institutional goals, because we are working in one institution or one college or one university. So whatever goals we are writing as a teacher, that should match with the university goal or the institution goal. Similarly, if we are the parents, we need to think on, so what is our short-term goal or the long-term goal? Our short-term goal is to facilitate our children for their betterment future. So what is that betterment future is what? We need to align with the children's goal. It is not our goal. I should not tell my daughter to become some doctor. I should not tell my daughter to become some lawyer. So we need to be in line with their goal. Similar way, as a teachers, we need to be in line with the university or the institutional goal. So how we can make it? That is by writing the teaching philosophy statement. Parents, you can make it as a parent philosophy statement. Okay, this is what I'm talking. What are my goals for my class? What is that I need to do for these 60 children or 40 children or my own 2 children? What is my goal? And to what extent they match with the goals of my institution or my university? Vision and mission will be there for every university and every institution. Whether my goals are matching with that vision and mission of the institution or university, that we need to cross check. And very important thing is, what are the learning needs of my student? Or what are the learning needs of my daughter? Or what are the learning needs of my son? That we need to keep in mind. So if we can focus on these two, what are the goals of university or the institution, and what are the learner needs as a teacher, if we can justify these two, second and third points, then you are done. You are the great teacher, and your contribution is, we cannot even tell in the words, that no words for your contribution. When we as a teacher, we as a parent can understand the goals of the university and the goals of our children or our students, so our work is done. And what is the best way? How can I facilitate my learner, or how can I facilitate my university to meet their goals and their needs? That is the pathway we need to decide as a teacher and the faculty. What are the challenges which I am facing in this process? I wanted to do this. I wanted to implement a blended learning methodology in the classroom. So to implement blended learning methodology in the classroom, what are the challenges I have in front? That we need to focus on. So write it down on a board or write it down on a paper. And also similarly, think about the solutions. If I wanted to implement the blended learning, so all of you know now whatever we are doing now. So how can I do that? For that, what are the resources required? So that we need to estimate and come up with some sort of solutions. Right? How I am going to evaluate myself in terms of achievement of my goal. At the second level, we have written our goals, how to meet institutional goal, how to understand the learner needs. Now, in this whole process, at least weekly or monthly, yearly, we can have a evaluation format as a teacher. Monthly, we can evaluate ourselves. Monthly, we can change our teaching philosophy statement. There is no compulsion or mandatory that you need to have a same teaching philosophy statement throughout the life. No need. Okay, so we can change our teaching philosophy statement in a week or in a month, in a year. Like that, we can change based on our self-evaluation. In this process, we can take the help of our friends or our colleagues or our family members. Right? So I'll show, even today I have my teaching philosophy statement, or just a minute, if you permit, I will show you. This is my teaching philosophy statement. This will be changed in a week, or this will be changed in a month, but every day this will be in front of me. I will also cross check that whether I have achieved my objectives or whether I have achieved my goals or not. Right? So that's how we need to prepare. It's a kind of timetable kind of thing for the teachers. So this is a format and style. You can use your own styles. There is no compulsion that you need to use only this style. I have used this style. My teaching philosophy statement is, if you see here, child-led is student-centric learning, inquiry-based learning. These are the few statements I have given. I may give homework or not, that is my option. I need to fix it in my teaching philosophy statement. Parental involvement, I've kept parental involvement is mandatory. As a teacher, I need to be connected with the parents of my students. Treating children as individuals. So this is what the partiality biases should not be there. Every individual is equal for a teacher. These are my teaching philosophy. Learning through play. So I used to conduct many activities. Through the activities, my students used to learn. If you see, one of my students' Facebook, he mentioned that you are only the one teacher in my life of 21 years who made me comfortable, who made me accessible to share anything with you, and who has given scope to practice something in my life. That is really great achievement for my life, because I feel very happy whenever my student Srikanth talks to me. Now today Srikanth is in United States of America, and even from USA also he calls me and he tells, You have given me the scope, because I'm a Telugu medium guy who have come up from the grassroots village from a state of Telangana. No one has given me chance to speak or given me chance to stand up on the dais. But you are the one faculty at the third year of engineering. You gave me the chance to stood up on the dais and share something. You know, I used to practice this last 12 years. Even in 2009 onwards, I'm practicing this active learning methodology. So this is the great feedback I have from, you know, across the world. I have my students. Whenever they are sharing this feedback, now I feel very happy. As a teacher, that is what we are looking. That is what makes us very happy. If one student from 10 years batch, 2010, 2008, 2007 batch student calls you and tells you that, sir or madam, you are the one who is part of my achievement. You are the one who gave me the scope for practicing this. You are the one who gave me the space to do this. So how happy we will feel. That is what we need to practice through teaching philosophy statement. Our intention is to make them perfect. Overall personality development, make them perfect, so not only 100 out of 100 marks. So mutual respect, always this is very important. We need to give respect, take respect, right? That is, we need to focus on. This is few aspects of my teaching philosophy statement. Okay, similarly you can create your own teaching philosophy. There is no a particular pro forma to create your own teaching. You can write it on a paper, you can write it on a board, or you can use some kind of sketches like me. But it's up to you. You can create as you wish, but make it clear with your goals, objectives, and your institution goals and the needs of your learner, which is very much important. Okay, so this is all about teaching philosophy statement. So I recommend all the teachers and parents here at least write 2 to 3 goals. Even parents also, you can just make note of the goals. What is that you wanted to do as a parent, as a mother, or as a father, as a grandfather, grandmother? What is that you wanted to do for your current generation children? So how you are going to facilitate them, or how you are going to justify your role? So that you please make note of in your parent philosophy statement or in your teaching philosophy statement. Okay, and then quickly we will go with the teaching learning process. Let me mute, someone is talking. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kirti madam, I will mute. Perfect, thank you. Then the last content or last objective of our session is, Diwakar sir, please excuse me, I may take more 10 minutes of time. Is that okay, Diwakar sir?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Diwakar sir. Right, so teaching learning process. In teaching learning process, we have 3 phases. The first phase is motivation phase, second phase is information phase, and the third one is active learning phase. Let me once again mute. Yeah, Rajarao sir. Okay, so in the first phase of motivation, as a teacher or as a parent, what we need to do is, we need to tell them some stotra or some lecture. What is our old traditional method is that we need to tell them. Even if it is our son or daughter also, that is what we need to tell them. This you should not do better. This is what you should do. This is the procedure. This is the tradition. Like that, we need to tell them in the motivation phase. That is basically giving knowledge to them. So this is what the Newton's third law is. Like that, we are going to give them. Okay, so that is the motivation phase, and we interrelate with some examples. This is what your brother has done, or this is what your senior has done. Your senior has practiced this way. That is the reason that fellow has got I-20 in so and so New York University, or that is the reason that fellow has got the job at Tata Consultancy, or that is the reason that fellow has been selected as a government teacher. So like that, we will interlink some examples to our students or the children. That is what we will do regularly at our home also, right? What we will tell to younger children, you see how your brother is doing, how your sister is doing, how your cousin have got that medicine seed there, and how your cousin has settled in his or her life. That is the examples we will show, right? So that is the motivation phase. Okay, that is. And the second phase is information phase. Information phase is like what is available, that resources we will provide them. So if whatever we are, yoga classes we are attending every day. So what if sir is giving only information, that is oral information, so that will consider as a information phase. If sir is telling the Kapalabhati is to exhale, 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 so that is information phase, And sorry, I'll come back to this slide again. The last phase is active phase we have. So in the active phase, again, I'll come with our yoga example only. What Dr. Divakar sir is doing with all of us, he's making all of us to do that. Exhale, to practice that exhale. Count for 10 times. Stretch, to stretch your hand, stretch your leg, whatever. That practice is happening. That whatever the practice is happening, demonstration is happening, that we call it as a active learning phase. So these are the 3 phases we have. Motivation phase, so we will tell them what is available and we will show them some examples. Information phase, so we will give some knowledge. Active learning phase, so we will involve them. These are the 3 phases of learning and teaching. Okay, again, one brainstorming activity. Can one of you or anyone can create one story out of these images? Anyone? Please create a story using all the images and all the GIFs available on screen. This I have exhibited in IIT induction program, Osmania University induction program for the faculties, JNTU induction program for the faculties. They have come up with excellent stories. So please create one story using the contents available on the slide. You can share with me in next 3 minutes. Anyone, sir and madam, you can write out. Please create a story using the images or whatever GIFs you are seeing on the slide. Please make a story. Unmute and share. Whichever language you know, you can share in the language. If Kannada, to Divakar sir is there to help me out to translate. If Telugu, to I can understand easily. Anyone in the group, just create a story and unmute yourself and share that story. Anyone? If any student is here also, you can create a story and you can share with us. Just let me check anything in chat box. Anyone can share a story out of these pictures and images? Okay, you can create a story and share with your family members. Okay, because it is already 7:15. We need to go with the timings. Okay, just create a story out of this slide. Remember the pictures available and share with your family members. Okay. Then this is the learning pyramid, which is very important for all of us. Just observe this learning pyramid. We can understand that the average retention rate by different teaching methodologies. Here in the pyramid we have lecture method, reading, audio visual, demonstration, discussion, practice by doing, and teach others and immediate use of learning. If you observe here, the lecture method, the average retention rate is only 5%. If we tell them, if we teach them or tell them, speak with them, they will remember only for next half an hour. So next half an hour. After the 31st minute or 32nd minute, again everything is blank. No, that happens with us also. Even every day, many of us, we lost our practice of writing, lost our practice of reading, and practice of listening to the people. So if anyone tells, even in our yoga classes or some other classes which we attend, the instructor repeats again and again. Why they repeats again and again is because they know that we are not attentive, or if we listen to them also, we may forget. That is the problem. So that is the reason they will repeat it again and again and again and again. Okay. And if you observe the last two, practice by doing. So practice it at your own self. Today, whatever we have learned, if we practice at our own level, that will have retention rate of 75%. Okay. But the last method, observe there, teach others, or immediate use of learning. So whatever we are learning, I'll give best example of our yoga team only, because every day morning 5:30 to 7, we are only practicing, practice by doing, right? If we teach to someone, the retention rate will be maximum of 90%. If the same mudras, asanas, or whatever our yoga team is sharing many things, not only the yoga asanas and mudras, but also we are learning many attitude, gratitude kind of things. So if we teach all those to the others, then our retention rate will be maximum 90%. So this learning pyramid, everyone in the group need to understand, the parents and the teachers as well. Right? So the similar kind of practices we need to provide to our students and the children. We need to give them, or we need to facilitate them for the practice and also immediate use of that. Right? Then their attention span, or whatever personality traits we have listed in the third and fourth slide, that will be, we can overcome, or we can come out of that issues. Right? So effective teaching includes practical examples, interactive sessions, and explaining the concepts. So ultimate, we need to involve them. The practice makes everyone perfect. Simply practicing, and give them the space to teach, or give them the space to unlearn and relearn and learn. Let them teach others, or let them practice this. That facility we need to give them as a teacher. And now our roles has been shifted to the teachers and facilitators. The teaching methodologies, these are the different teaching methodologies we can use in classroom: blended learning, flipped classroom, Plickers assessment tool. If the teachers here, you can practice this Plickers assessment tool, you will enjoy a lot. Even your students will remember the content 100%. Throughout their life, they will remember. Anyone can try it out. Just Google search Plickers assessment tool. The Plickers assessment tool will be provided with, this kind of cards. Just our thing is to get the printout of this kind of things, and our students will answer the quizzes and the questions using this kind of symbols. So the Plickers tool, like that, not only Plickers tool, I'm not restricting you to use only Plickers tool, but we have many such kind of tools. Okay, we can utilize any kind of teaching, technology into our classrooms. So that way we can focus on to this last two, practice by doing and teach others, and immediate use of learning, that we can practice through implementing different methodologies. Okay, and again, these are the assessment strategies. So previously we used to give 1 mark, 2 mark, 5 mark, 6 mark for each question. If question is having 10 marks, so based on their writing, we need to give 6 marks or 5 marks or 4 marks, right? But today's generation, we need to follow the assessment methodologies also different. The assessment methodologies we can use is rubrics, this checklist, student contracts, and logs, concept maps, journals, questioning, conferences, like that. So we can give them marks based on how many number of conferences they have attended, because if I am correct, in all the university patterns or wherever we are, we have some internal assessment marks in our hands as a faculty and as a teacher. So for that internal assessment, we can utilize these assessment methodologies. So when I was doing as an engineering faculty, I used to practice all these. I used to give them online tests, in the year of 2009 and 10. I used to give them online tests, let them do online tests. and I used to make sure that every student in my classes attends the one conference, national conference or international conference. Let them just go, be there for 1 day or 2 day, come back and share your experiences. That's all. So if they are making sure that they have attended and they are sharing the experiences, so I used to give them the internal assessment marks. So these are the different assessment methodologies we can follow in the classroom. Right? So this is a repetition kind of thing. Like as a teacher, our role is to be facilitator. That's all. There is no other alternate term, and all this slide gives you the facilitator role. We need to facilitate them to achieve their goals, achieve their objectives. That's all. Yes. Get the students engaged in learning, talking. When we are in the classroom, of course, today everyone are through online only. But when offline classes starts, just we can move around in the classroom, not only stand on the dais or sit in the chair and give whatever lecture we wanted to give. No, just move around in the classroom and observe every student need to get the feel that this sir or madam is observing me. I am in their eyesight. My teacher is observing me. That need to be given to the student. Then they will be focused. Similar kind of thing as a parent we can also do at the home. So our own children need to feel that yes, my mother is observing me. My father knows that whatever I am doing in the home or outside the home, that we need to focus. Okay. So in other words, this is what we need to do. So from just bored mode to the active mode. So this is the basic objective. My daughter is Rakshashi. She will shout all the way. No? Okay, this is the last slide to conclude. A teacher is one who facilitates active learning among the students, becomes an active learner. Please focus on the second sentence. It is not only providing active learning to the students, but also becoming an active learner among them. That is a great skill which we need to practice as a teacher. Okay, and experiences all the discoveries in many projects. As many projects our students do, we are the winners of the projects when we involve ourselves as a learner with them. Okay, the teacher mentors generations of students. It will not over with one generation or two generations. We are going to teach them for 25 years, 35 years or 40 years, as long as we are alive, right? So we are going to mentor generations of students. So our students can be entrepreneurs, innovators, or the world winners. Who knows? But as a teacher, it's our prime responsibility to facilitate every student. I know that many teachers in this group are doing the same. So for such kind of teachers, really from my heartfelt thanks and salutes to everyone. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, especially Dr. Divakar sir, for giving me this special opportunity. Thank you so much, VNVH Yoga Group. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
సంజయ్ గారు బాగా చెప్పారండి.
Oh, thank you.
Now it is open for question and answers. Please, you can
Yes.
share your opinions.
Yes, please. I'm
Please.
sorry. Last
Switch on your videos. Switch on your videos and tell your name, you are from which place, what you are doing, and
Yes,
say something about these things. Whatever you want, you can share.
if anything to be added, you are welcome to add some points to my slides also.
Can I tell something?
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
I'm really very happy by seeing Shailaja madam at this time. Thank you so much, Shailaja madam, for being here. Yes, madam, please.
Hello, ma'am.
Thank you for allowing me to talk. And this is Shailaja. I'm calling in from US. It's early in the morning, but I am here. Okay. What I want, Sandhya Garu, you did a very good job, and it was a wonderful presentation. One thing is, it's not a criticism from my side, but I just want to tell one thing. You talk about how do we tell the students, how do we ask them to listen, and how do we do this one? The important thing is, how about the lecturers? How about the teachers? How about the professors, whoever it is? We have to understand one thing is our attitude. That's the important part, is our attitude as a teacher. the thinking is we know everything. That's the problem with, I mean, it's with all of our Indians is that's the thing. You know, we think that we know everything. No, there is no need to tell for us. It's not just with students, but even the teachers. So important thing is listening to the student. Probably sometimes we are wrong, but you know, accepting the fact is very important. Accepting the fact that yes, whatever the student or whatever the person next to me is telling me is correct. Accepting that whatever I did was wrong is important thing, and that leads to the attitude, listening. And the third part is undermining the third person. You never undermine a person saying that, oh no, you don't know anything, and feeling to matladte. That's not a good attitude, because you know you're building that attitude. You're telling that way so that you know you're not you're respecting. That's the important thing to tell, not like undermining. Respect, to respect the person and tell that, yeah, I understand your point. Yes, I'm going to consider this one. I'm going to take into consideration. Let's talk it later on, or let's discuss this one. Rather than confrontational ga undakunda, rather than going into a confrontation, oh, neeken telusra, nu em chestunavu idi adi ana, but yeah, you got a good point to tell me. Can I? Yeah, let's. I will think of it. I'll get back to you. Maybe you have that kopam in your mind, thinking that, oh my God, na blood boil aitunadi. So people are like, you know, doing this one. So that explanation. And one other thing, I'm not criticizing your presentation, but the thing is, you know, what we should have done is put a time limit for you yourself told Sandhya that attention span is only 5 minutes. Okay, but when we gave a lecture for 45 minutes and 1 hour, what do you think about us? Even the old boy people are getting like, oh my God, it's already 1 hour. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tell that way, but I'm just telling you the timing is very important. And you know, the timing is also, yes, I have a lecture, but I'm going to put the questions, like 15 minutes of my time for questions and answers. Let it be interactive, okay? And if no one is answering, just pick a person and ask them, hey, so-and-so, what do you think? Hey, intro emaindra? I mean, it's more of interactive of ask, not exactly answer to the question, but just saying, oh, what is the interactive? Intro mana jayaleda, chinnapudi ila chesevallam kada. What was that? So you're trying to connect that, building that connection, saying that, oh, manam ala kalsi unde vallamu, ala chesamu, or this has happened before, ananedi. So being concise and quick and to the present, to the point is very important. You know, and you told that this generation is like that. They don't want to listen. Yeah, it's not just they, even we don't want to listen to many things. So these are the very interactive, and emphasizing on the activities is also important. Correlating your work, correlating your presentation to the present day situation is also important. ఏదైనా ఎగ్జాంపుల్, చిన్న ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకొని, ఓ నేను ఇది దీని గురించి చెప్తున్నాను, బట్ యు నో వాట్ హ్యాపెండ్, ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇవ్వండి ఆర్ ఒక జోక్ చెప్పండి మధ్యలో, దట్ యు నో ఇట్ ఫ్లేమ్స్ అప్. అమ్మయ్య, యాక్టివిటీ అనేది ఇంపార్టెంట్ అవుతుంది. సో నౌ ఐ విల్ స్టాప్ బికాజ్ ఐఎమ్ గివింగ్ అ లెక్చర్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thank you very much, Shailaja. Thank you very much. So I want to just say one thing. Both of us, Shailaja and myself, was classmates before in the year 1978 to 80, 2 years, MSc chemistry classmates in Warangal. She was my classmate. Now she is staying in States, right? Thank you very much, Shailaja. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Definitely
listening.
your inputs will be added in the next presentation, taken into consideration with pleasure, and we want this right type of write up of information, or how to make more crisp and to the point, not exceeding the limits, not going for explanations, but according to the points what to be taught, direct, gunshot, like that we want. We will definitely do it, and we want your help also in that regard. Thank you very much. Any more question and answers, please?
Sanjay madam, namaste ande. Very excellent presentation, madam. Madam.
సార్ చెప్పండి కనకరాజు గారు.
I'm Kanakaraju from Narsipatnam. Madam, audible, madam?
Yes, sir, you're audible, please.
Very, very excellent presentation. As I am a teacher, I am taking so many trainings from government of Andhra Pradesh. I will adapt my philosophy of teaching is very excellent demo. I will add to my presentation in my classroom. So many methods are already we are discussing on our teaching learning practice. So we adapt some more points we have to learn this in this session. Thank you very much. It is very useful to teach in my classroom very effectively, and it is more useful to our teacher and next generation also. Thank you very much.
Madam,
So I want to answer this Manisri. She put a question that students are not accepting failure. Is that Manisri is there?
Yes, sir, I'm
Manisri?
here. Yes, sir.
Yes. You are from which place, ma'am?
Hyderabad, sir.
Alright, you are from Hyderabad. Ah, okay, okay, great, wonderful. Are you working?
Yes, sir.
Where?
Sir, I work as a lecturer in Kasturba Gandhi Degree College.
Oh, great, wonderful. So which subject you teach?
Business law and insurance, sir.
Huh? What is it?
Business law. Okay, law and insurance, sir.
Okay, okay, wonderful, wonderful. Who has to train the students then? Are we really telling them? Anything, whatever it happens, we have to accept it. We always tell them only to be successful, successful, successful. We never say that you should accept the failures as well. We don't teach that. Life is a mixture of success and failures. Failure is only stepping stones to success. We don't teach them. Parents also don't tell the student, tell their children, अरे एग्जाम गए तो क्या हो गया चलो nothing will happen, we'll see next time. What happens? Failure. Okay, accept the failure. Take them to a cinema, take them to a picnic, take them to a tourist place. We don't think that अरे ऐसा कैसा हो गया, ऐसा क्यों फेल हो गए, ऐसा है तो कैसा आगे कैसा चलेगा. See, we are insisting them to be successful, right? So life is a mixture of success and failure. We should accept all the things and take it into consideration. Over to you, Kirti, and you can ask for some of the question and answers for a few minutes. We'll, as per the Sandhya's convenient time, we will take 3 or 4 questions and we'll complete it. Kirti, over to you. If there is anybody to ask the questions, you can put the questions, please. Don't say that this is good, that is good, wonderful explanation. Okay, that's okay. Right? Directly come to the point. Talk about talk about your question. That's all. Right. Thank you.
Madam, Sanjay Madam Garu.
చెప్పండి సార్.
Madam Garu, why you are not touch with other extracurricular activities? Why?
No, we
Not
have
adopted.
series of lectures. Next lecture we can go with that, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, I have a very simple question, ma'am, to Sandhya Garu. Like you told me, like to take a 40-minute class. In a 40-minute class, take a 10-minute class, give a break to them, and it's very difficult for teachers to take 40 minutes full of the institution to complete the syllabus and also to interact with the child, to give them space, to give much more time to interact with us, and at the same time to complete the syllabus also. Like it's a very challenge. It's very, very, very much challenging for the teacher. But nobody understands what the teacher is facing there with the child. If we give them 10 minutes break also, it will take another 10 minutes to control them. Like you understand the today's children. So how to control these things?
Okay, mom, this difficulty, we will face for first day, second day, third day, and fourth day. From the fifth day or the second week onwards, even you will not expect the students will turn towards you, and what happens, their whatever the leisure hours, the games hour or some leisure hours will be there now. They will love you to be their teacher in the classroom. So, but this difficulty we will face for the first 1 week, or let them experience that active learning methodologies in the classroom. Once they are habituated, and yes, I'm sure that 100% the students will like that activity based learning. And whatever the difficulties you have mentioned, that also I have faced during my teaching for engineering students. So that time what I used to do is not to disturb the other classes. I used to take all my students to somewhere else, maybe in the lawns, maybe in the play area. So like that, in a college or in a school, we will have areas. So I used to take them to there and let them have some activity based. They can do team practices. They can do some other the seminar kind of thing. But first 1 week, yes, I accept with you. First 1 week to 10 days, it is difficult to mold them because all of us are habituated to one methodology. So it takes 10 days of time. I'm sure that from 11th day, you will enjoy and your students will enjoy and they will learn. There is no question on syllabus completion and all. We will complete our syllabus in time and not only in time, prior to the schedules given. But only the first 10 days we will feel difficulty. So if you practice this, you will again come to me and you will share the feedback with me. That happens. That is not at all an issue. But first 10 days or 10 classes or 15 classes, we need to be careful.
Yes,
Thank
last
you so much,
question.
ma'am. Thank
Anybody?
you.
Only last question.
Hello, madam.
Ha, sir. Namaskar. How are you?
Fine, madam. How are you, madam?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
In this pandemic situation, this teaching method will be effective, madam.
In this pandemic, we have a wonderful opportunity through all this Google Meet and Zoom Meet is we can
Yes,
go
ma'am.
with the breakout rooms.
But
And
because
you
madam,
as a host can get into any room, be
yes,
participant of that discussion and all that we can practice. And another thing is we can go with the Plickers assessment tool or the quizzes, online quizzes. Let them do quiz at their own convenient time. Give them 3 days or 4 days or 5 days of time. In this
yes,
5
ma'am.
days of time, let them do whenever they want.
Okay,
So
madam. Okay, thank
we
you, thank
can
you.
do it. Online also we can facilitate them.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Kirti madam, over to you.
Thank you, Sandhya Garu. Thank you so very much for this very nice presentation. A vote of thanks to Dr. Diwakar sir for conducting such a wonderful program. Thank you all. Thank you all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandhya Madam. Thank you,
So
sir.
thank you one and all. See you in tomorrow morning yoga class.
Okay.
And whatever that you want, if any other anybody from Karnataka, if they want to ask any questions, always phone number is also given to you, and you have the mail ID as well as the phone number. You can directly talk to us. Not only now, in future also for any programs, we are welcome. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you one
thank
and
you,
all.
sir. Thank you,
This
Diwakar sir.